We'll start with the prayers. Om. 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 Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramarthanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. So we have started the chapter 2 of the Bhagavad Gita, and we are in the middle of Jnana Yoga topic. Basically, there are 4 topics in this chapter. The first topic is Arjuna Sharanagati. That means Arjuna surrendered to his Guru, Lord Krishna. That's the first topic from verse 1 to 10. Then the next topic is from verse 11 to 38, which is Jnana Yoga, which is the central theme of this chapter, as well as the central theme of the whole Gita. Many people have studied Gita in the past for many, many years, but not systematically. If you study Bhagavad Gita systematically, it will give you complete benefit of mukti. And one should realize right at the beginning what is the goal. And these verses from 11 to 38 give us the goal of the study of Gita. The next topic is Karma Yoga, 39 to 53, and the last one is Mukti. Mukti means moksha, or how does a person who has studied the Gita and has got the benefit of the Gita, how will he live in this life? That is what is discussed from verse number 54 to 72. For the purpose of the flow of the discussions, I have taken Sharanagati first, and then Karma Yoga second, and then Jnana Yoga, and then Mukti. So we'll go to the area where we stopped last week, and that was in slide number 18. This is where we stopped. Whenever we say Jnana Yoga, we must understand what does it mean. It means 3 things. Jnana Yoga means Sravanam, which means listening to the scriptures systematically. The second step is mananam. That means whatever I have learned or heard of the scriptures, I must deliberately take some time and let the ideas roll in the mind. This is the second step. Many people, again, they don't do this. The second step and the third step are very important because that is what changes or transforms a person. So mananam is reflection. Reflection of the ideas which are given in the Bhagavad Gita. The third step is an automatic process which happens in the mind, which is called as nididhyasanam. The moment your mananam is very strong, the reflection of the teachings is very strong, then In the mind, you will try to drop the wrong notions you have about yourself. We have taken ourselves to be this body and the mind for many, many lives. And the Bhagavad Gita teaches us how to drop this identification in our mental framework. And this is usually done by telling yourself, I am that Atma which has been revealed to me. This is a revelation in the Bhagavad Gita. It's a totally new teaching, which is a subjective teaching, not an objective teaching. When I learn physics or mathematics or astronomy or botany or medicine or engineering, computer science, these are all objective sciences. They deal with the objects which are perceived by the sense organs. Science has no corridor to enter Atma because it is subjective science. This deals with who am I. So Nididhyasana is a process by which I tell myself in my own mind, Aham Atma Asmi. I am this Atma. I am not the body, I am not the mind, I am not the intellect. This is a deliberate process which has been recommended in the Shastra. And where does this process come in the Shastra is revealed in this Brihadaranyaka Upanishad mantra, where a husband is teaching his wife how to realize the self. And in the end portion, it says, the self, my dear Maitreyi, Maitreyi is the wife, should be realized, should be heard of, reflected and meditated upon. And by this realization of the self, what is the benefit? The guru, the husband says, I will know the entire secret of this universe. And we have seen earlier in the last session that I have to know the principle of Drik, Drishya, Viveka. Drik means the seer, Drishyam means the seen, and Viveka means the discrimination between the seer and the seen. For those who have followed me so far, after Tattva Bodha, we did Atma Bodha, and then we did Drik Drishya Viveka as a text. So you may be familiar with that. For those who are not, I have some sessions in the YouTube on Drik Drishya Viveka. You can also go through them. In simple terms, it means I am the seer of my body. I see this physical body through the consciousness principle in this body. I see the mind through this consciousness principle in this body. Consciousness awareness principle is different than what is seen. So seer is different. I am the seer awareing principle, and body is seen, mind is seen, emotions are known to me, and the whole world is known to me because of the five sense organs. It's quite a simple methodology used by the scriptures. This is a direct method of revelation of our nature. And the law is the seer and the seen are always different. In this case, we should note that the seer is Atma. It is at the higher level than the Vyavaharika transactional field. Like the waker is at a different level than the dreamer, this Atma, the seer, the pure consciousness, awareness principle, is at a higher level than the transactional field of anatma, which is the body, mind, the intellect, and also all the interactions we have in this world. They are at two different levels. Once I know that I am different from whatever I experience, and also that all the attributes or properties which are experienced in the objects, they belong to the objects. That means the height, the weight of the body belongs to the object. It does not belong to the Atma. Atma is free from these attributes. Kama, Krodha, Moha, these are all the attributes, desires, aversion, anger, jealousy. All these are belonging to the mind, which is revealed by Atma. It does not belong to the Atma. Hence, the Bhagavad Gita tells us, Aham Purnaha Asmi. That means I am the Purna Atma. Never I have any desire in this life as Atma. As a Jiva, which is identified with the body or mind, I have endless desires. The moment I identify as Ahamkara, I have endless desires and therefore I get into actions. Arriving at this Atma is the main teaching of all the Upanishads and the Bhagavad Gita. Not only arriving, but also learning to claim that Atma as me. I have explained to you what is Sravanam, and at the end of Sravanam, what you get is the knowledge that Atma is me. Aham Atma Asmi iti Nishchayaha. Nishchayaha means firmness. Firmly I decide in my own mind. It is not for telling others. It is only to know myself. This is a cognitive transformation in my mind. It comes only because of the exposure to the scriptures. This cannot come in any other way. And reflection is also called as upasana. Before I learn about the Atma, it is called as upasana. After I learn what is Atma, it is called as Dhyanam. And in this process of mananam, what I do, mananam or reflection or upasana, what I do is I remove the doubts which we have during the teaching. There are doubts about how can I be this Atma? I was born on so-and-so date because I always identified myself with the body, and even while asking the question, I'm identifying as the body. So basically, this reflection removes the doubts and gives us a clear understanding of Atma. All the rituals which we do, they give us purity of mind, and they come in the earlier portion of Vedas called as Karma Kanda. Karma Kanda is for fulfilling our desires in life. We have a lot of desires of prosperity, of growth, and the rituals will help us in that. Rituals also are related to Shraddham, and also they are capable of giving Swarga to me. But the only problem of the rituals is that it will keep me in this cycle of samsara. Whereas Jnana Kanda, that means the later portion of the Vedas, which are called as the Upanishads, the philosophical side, the logical side of the pure Atma, that deals with freedom of the Jiva. Nididhyasana, I have explained to you already, is an assimilation of the teaching. It is like digesting the food after you have taken the food. And this food, this gives us the strength. So this knowledge of Atma gives us the strength to face any crisis in life. Because emotional problems come to us because of prarabdha karma. All of a sudden, we are faced with some crisis. And this knowledge of Atma gives us the way to handle the crisis. It gives us a hold on to something which is permanent, because the crisis is coming and it will go away. So we drop our fear of mortality of the body by discovering the Purna Atma. The phalam is generally described as Jivan Mukti, which is Jivan Mukti means this life of change, which I'm used to because of my identification with the mind and the body. This gets dropped. Hence, I get freedom from sorrow. And Bhagavad Gita in the 5th chapter tells us this, that even here itself, while living, we can get this freedom. Then Arjuna asks a question in the end of after Bhagavan has explained to him about Jnana Yoga, about the features of Atma. He has also talked about all the Karma Yoga way of life, how to gain maturity in life through Karma Yoga. Then he asks a question, how does a jnani live? This is a very beautiful verse, and a lot of ideas of how to live in this life also come to us. By knowing the nature of a sthita prajna means a wise person, a person who has got a sthira prajna. Prajna means consciousness, sthira means stable. Our consciousness gets disturbed because of the thoughts in the mind. Tremendous flow of thoughts of desire, jealousy, wants. So many thoughts comes to us from morning to evening, and then we get the main thoughts which come to us is raga and dvesha. These are the two main thoughts. I like some things. I always want to have favorable situations. So all my actions are governed to get those favorable situations in life. That is called as raga. Dvesha means I do not like certain situations and I have aversion towards them. Therefore, I will like to go away from those events, those situations. And these raga and dvesha, they govern our whole life, and they are the causes of disturbances in the mind. How does a wise man live? Arjuna has asked, Sthita prajnascha ka bhasha samadhistasva keshava. Stitadhi kim prabhasheta kimasita vrajeta kim. How does a wise man speak? Does he speak very fast? Does he speak very slow? Does he speak very loudly? Does he sit? Does he ever sit, or he is always in meditation? How does he walk? So Arjuna is asking, does he have a halo around his head? What Bhagavan Krishna says is he experiences the world exactly like you and me. Only thing which is different between a wise man, a person who has got the vision of the Shastra, and a Ajnani is that the response to the situations will be different. Suppose I don't have the knowledge of who I am. I will remain as identified with the body and say, I am the body, I am getting old. I will go through the problems of the old age. I will go through these situations and I will keep on grumbling. I will grumble to myself, I'll grumble to my whole family, and then this is what is called as samsara. What happens if you are a jnani? Suppose you come to know you are not the body, you are not the mind, you are Atma. Then what will happen is your worries about the body, mind will stop. Your worry about your family will stop. Because you will know that in my true nature, I am Atma. And in the true nature of my family members, they are also Atma. Ultimately, we are all free from this body and mind, and therefore, there is no reason to worry. This is the jnanam which we get from the study of the whole Gita and the Upanishads. Upanishads give us this same message as what Bhagavad Gita gives us. So to this question of Arjuna, Lord gives a beautiful description up to verse number 72 till the end of the section. I have picked up certain small verses just to highlight how he describes the wise man. The first benefit, which is the most important benefit of a wise man, the Lord says, Prajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogatan atmaneva atmana tushtaha stita prajnascha tochyate. What it means is, this wise man, because he has the knowledge that he is the Atma Tattvam, the pure consciousness principle, which is there in the body, which is there in the entire universe, he has learned how to identify with this. You see, that is the main thing which we should be looking forward to in the study of the Gita. The first is to know that there is consciousness, there is awareness principle. The second is how do I try to identify with this, and how do I learn to disidentify with the body and mind. So here it teaches us that the moment you are able to identify with it, what happens is the desires which are there in the mind, they all get satisfied because you are satisfied in the Atma. Because Atma is pure bliss by nature. What really happens is you learn to discriminate with your own mind. And then you create a distance between the mind and the self, which is the Atma. And then you say Atma is Nityaha, Atma is eternal. And then you keep on dwelling on the features of Atma, indicators of Atma. By doing this, what happens is you come to know that you can remain in something in your own mind, identifying with something in your own self, which is called as Atma, which is called as Sakshi. And this identification with Atma and this identification with the body and mind, this gives tremendous amount of benefit. It gives us the strength, it gives us the joy to remain in our own self. And then what happens is you become triptaha. Triptaha means you become contented in your own self. Whether there are conducive things around me or unfavorable situations around me, I am still fine. That is what is the strength you get by knowing Atma. So the first quality of a Sthita Prajna, or the person who is got the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, in simple terms, it means that he knows that he is the consciousness principle, awareness principle, pure awareness principle. Then the best thing is that he drops the desires in life. He has no longer obsession with the desires. Without what happens to Ajnani? Ajnani means ignorant person. He always is going after one desire, after second desire, after third desire. He is on a full-fledged desire fulfilling, action-oriented person. Does it mean that he will become very lazy? This wise person, no. The wise person will remain active. He will do what is still his duty. He will teach. He will still serve the society. He will not be lazy, but he will be still active, and he will be able to help others to get rid of their sorrow. Then the second feature is Dukkeshu dukna manaha sukheshu vigata sprihaha vitaraga bhaya krodaha sthitadhir muniruchyate. Very important feature of a jnani is he is free from attachment, fear, and anger. Three things. We do not know how to get rid of attachments. Suppose I have a lot of fear. I don't know how to get rid of fear. Suppose I have a third, which is anger. I don't know how to get rid of anger. So these are the three main problems which we all face. All of us, we have this problem. And a jnani has learned to control his mind, and he has won over these three problems. Raga means what? I need certain objects or people or situations around me. Without that, my life is empty. This is what is called as raga or attachment. Even if we are sitting at home, suddenly we feel, oh, I must call up somebody, I must speak to somebody, go and meet somebody, because we are not happy with our own self. Either we switch on the TV or look at our mobile, we get attached. We want to get always attached to something. The inner weakness or the leaning on objects and beings is gone, because you know Atma, which is the core of my personality. And you can remain very, very happy just by being yourself. So Arjuna's suffering in the first chapter, if you remember, the three terms which I always used was raga, shoka, and moha. So here, Lord Krishna is teaching Arjuna that the problem of samsara, which is this attachment, sorrow, and delusion, which is the three features of the mind. These three features can be got rid of by Atma Jnana, by the knowledge of Atma. Generally, we feel greater the attachment, greater is the fear of losing them. And therefore, in our lives, what happens is there is always an undercurrent of fear. What will happen to me? What will happen to my family? What will happen to so and so in my life? So our mind is churning thoughts after thoughts, thoughts after thoughts in this direction. But as we learn slowly, gradually about Atma, and my mind learns to pick up how to think on the Atma, then these emotions of anger or fear, they will loosen their capacity to disturb me. A time will come when these emotions of anger and fear and desire, these three emotions get completely wiped out. And Lord Krishna gives two examples, very beautiful examples of how a sthira prajna, that means a wise man, is liberated. How his liberation, how is his mind? So one example is he compares the night. Ya nisha sarva bhutanam tasyam jagrati sanyami. Yasyam jagrati bhutani ya sa nisha pashyate munehe. That means when a wise man is awake, then the ignorant man is asleep. What does it mean? When the ignorant man is sleeping, that means in your sleep state, the wise man knows that he is Atma, which is consciousness, awareness principle, which is watching or which is aware that the mind is in a passive condition. It is our Atma or the pure awareness principle which is able to remember that I had a good sleep yesterday, that whatever was existing in our sleep state is called as Sakshi, is called as Atma. And that can exist without the mind being in active condition. Mind is passive. That passive condition is called as Tamo Gunaha. Tamo Gunaha means it is like darkness. There are three gunas of Prakriti: Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. Sattva means bright, like we are all having knowledge during the waking state. This is called as the Sattvic state, pure state where we are able to get knowledge of the world. Then the Rajasic is the state of a dream, when the mind is awake, throwing up the impressions, but semi-awake, yeah? That is the dream state. And the tamas state means it is the sleep state, where our body and the mind is almost like inert. But this inert nature of the five elements which constitute this body is seen by the consciousness principle, is known. When I say seen means it is known. It is not like physical seeing of the eyes, seeing an object. But the Atma in us sees, is aware that the body is sleeping, mind is sleeping, but it exists all alone by itself. So the jnani is aware that he is the existent consciousness principle, all the time existing, whether the three states come and go or not, he is the pure consciousness. This knowledge is called as, this knowledge is what keeps him awake. This knowledge is called as the knowledge of pure awareness. So in this 69th verse, like the day and night, In the night time, you can't see things. In the daytime, you see things clearly. Lord Krishna compares a wise man with the ignorant man. The wise man is compared to the person who knows about his true self. So that is what is explained in the 69th verse. Then there is a beautiful verse, the 70th verse, which says, Apuryamanam achalam pratishtam samudramapa pravishanti yadvat taddat kama yam pravishanti sarve sa shantim apnoti na kama kami. This verse tells that like an ocean, like in an ocean, suppose the rivers are joining an ocean, nothing happens to the ocean. The ocean is so huge that whether the rivers come or go, or the waters get evaporated and they form the rain in another area, the ocean is not disturbed. So similarly, the peace which is enjoyed by a wise man is never disturbed, even when there are turmoils in the mind of a wise man. Because the base, the adhishthanam, is Atma. He is holding on to this pure awareness principle as himself. Therefore, he is unmoved by any desires which come. Therefore, he can drop the desires. That's what it says in this particular verse, the 70th verse. So how is the difference between a wise man and an ignorant person? The wise man is a free man. He is not bound by his body or mind or intellect. And whereas the ignorance is bound, because the ignorant man doesn't know how to get rid of his mind. He's totally caught up in the web of his desires, his raga and dvesha. So the wise man, life is compared to a day. An ignorant man's life is compared to a night. One is a Swami, another is a Aswami. One is a master of his mind, master of his Ananda. That means his nature is pure bliss. And the other is he's a slave to his body and mind. Whenever the mind says something, he'll jump. His likes and dislikes will dictate his transactions. He doesn't have control over the mind has control over the person. That is an ignorant person. So wise man will have a gloomy face, he has a gloomy face. So, and the wise person, as I said, is like the ocean, and ignorant is like a pond or a tank. Ignorant person will say, I have only one small house. I'm looking for a bigger house. I'm looking for a bigger, much bigger. I want a bigger car. I want a bigger surrounding situations and so on. He'll always be complaining, the ignorant. And the ignorant one depends on others. When he gets something, he hits the ceiling. When he loses something, he's totally depressed. So he's always identified with a turbulent mind. How is a wise man? A wise man is like the rivers, like the ocean. Never disturbed, ever full, complete, purnaha. So the purnatvam of a jnani is brought out beautifully in this comparison to an ocean. He is not affected, a wise man is not affected by the arrival or departure of experiences in life. Whereas the ignorant man, he wants to hold on to the good experiences, he wants to drop the bad experiences. Wise man is very happy because he knows he is Atma and he is always abides in his Swarupam. So abides in his Swarupam means he abides in his pure awareness, consciousness principle all the time. Never is he disturbed. This is possible for all of us. The moment we understand we are Atma. But then how does the ignorant man falls? This is a beautiful psychological step-by-step process which Lord Krishna describes. Lord Krishna is a master of the human mind. If you want to study the human mind, you have to study the Bhagavad Gita. There is no other literature which can tell us about the human mind as much as the Bhagavad Gita. In every chapter, you will find how the mind thinks, how the body acts. Every chapter, you will get a lesson in psychology, in our how to handle the human mind. A step-by-step process of how our desires, they lead us to a downfall, is explained in these verses from 62 onwards. Dhyayato vishayan pumsaha sangasteshu upajayate sanghat sanjayate kamaha kamat krodho vijayate. I'll explain this whole process through a diagram here. What it says is, in these verses, what he says is, when we think of objects, suppose I want to buy a car, I see an advertisement of a car, then I keep on thinking of the advertisement. It keeps on coming into my mind again and again. I must have that car, you know. So the mind gets attached to the car. That attachment leads to a desire. Now, when the desire comes in our mind, it can get fulfilled. You go and purchase a car, but suppose you are not able to purchase a car because you don't have the money. So your mind still is thinking of the car again and again, and it feels frustrated and thinks that I can't buy the car. I need the car, but I can't buy the car. So the desired object, if it gets fulfilled, it will ask for a second car. If a desire is not fulfilled, it goes into anger. And anger, then what happens is, causes delusion in the mind. It causes delusion. It keeps on thinking about all the wrong things, which how can I get the car? Maybe I should go and buy, maybe I should take a loan, you know, gets into some delusions. This delusion leads to loss of memory, and our discriminating ability is lost. I lose the ability to think whether it is really buying a car useful to me or not. Is it really worth it? Is it worth taking such a big loan? Sometimes I end up taking a loan and then I suffer. Same thing can happen when you want to buy a house. Unless until your desires are well discriminated, you will not be able to fulfill the desires or get rid of the desires. So this is the fall, or how this is just, I'm just giving an example of a car or a house. Each one of us can apply this principle in our own minds about our own situations. This knowledge of how the mind works and what happens when the attachment comes, the desire comes, it can happen for marriage also. You want to go and get married to somebody. Now that is an attachment, then desire comes. Suppose my family doesn't allow me to get married to a person, then I get angry. Then it causes a lot of delusion in my mind. So much so it can cause loss of memory, destruction of discrimination, and you don't know what's happening to your own mind. So different situations can come. You can compare it to different situations in our own life, and then we can take corrective action when it is required. This corrective action is possible easily if you have the Jnana of Atma. That is what Lord Krishna is teaching us. And how does a wise man live? That was one of the questions which Arjuna asked. Lord Krishna gives a beautiful example of a tortoise. He says, Yada samharate chayam kurmonga neva sarvashaha indriyanendriyartheshu tasya prajna pratishtitaha. So what he's saying is that like the tortoise which is moving around with limbs all around, and when it senses certain objects which might be harm the tortoise, it will pull all the limbs inside and then it will remain inside. So similarly, a jnani, a wise person, whenever there are unfavorable situations, he will be able to withdraw his sense organs and also withdraw his mind, exactly like a tortoise. Vishaya vinivartante niraharyasya dehinah rasavarjam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate. For many of us, what happens is we may be able to withdraw sense organs, but our mind keeps on thinking of the object which we want to buy. You have come out of the car showroom thinking, okay, this is not for me. But in your mind, you may be thinking, oh, I must have that, I must have that. But for a wise man, it happens, his longing itself leaves him. Because he knows that this is not permanent. One day I have to drop. One day this car will not be with me. So he lives happily and says, okay, let me be attached to my own Atma, let me live. The rasa which is there in an ignorant person is not there in a wise man. So these are examples which we can use. This is how Bhagavad Gita becomes useful in our life. These are the learnings, these are the teachings which we can adopt and we can apply it in our own life. Simple teachings are there from the Gita about our mind, how to tackle our own mind. One of the best things which we can learn from the Bhagavad Gita is to tackling our own mind. How to purify the mind, how to reduce the thoughts, how to change the pattern of our thinking. These are all the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita. We may not be able to understand, or we may not be able to reach the goal of Atma Jnanam, but the benefit of the study of these 18 chapters is tremendous. Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, both lead to Jivan Mukti. Jivan Mukti means freedom from the bondage of the mind. That is called as Brahmanishta. It is called as Brahmi Sthitihi. In the last verse of this chapter, Lord Krishna says, Esha Brahmi Sthiti Partha Nainam Prapya Vimukhyati Sthitvad Amanta Kalepi Brahma Nirvana Mrichati. That means a wise man is established always in this Atma, which is one with Brahman. Atma is one with Brahman means what? Brahman is the cause of this entire universe. The nature of that Brahman is pure awareness. Atma, which I have realized after doing Atma Anatma Viveka, is the same as Brahman, which is the cause of this whole universe. So, a wise man always is in a state of pure awareness, consciousness, absolutely alert in life, complete control of the sense organs and the mind. So this is what is called as Sankhya Yoga. In other words, Sankhya means Jnanam, knowledge, knowledge of Atma. So in this chapter, the Lord has summarized what he is going to teach in the entire Gita. First of all, he tells Arjuna that don't worry. Your worry worrying about killing others in the battlefield is wrong. Don't worry, I will give you the knowledge of Atma, which is your true nature, which is the nature of the entire, all the people in the battlefield. If you know your own Atma correctly well, and you know you can claim that Atma as yourself, then you will not be worried about killing others or getting others killed. This is one main teaching what Lord Krishna teaches Arjuna. Through this, what he is telling us is, how do I face death in life? In life, we are always afraid of our own death or also afraid of the death around us. How to face that? A beautiful teaching comes from the verse number 12 to verse number 13. That is one aspect. But how do I learn this Atma is by, there is a step-by-step process involved. First, I need to purify my mind through Karma Yoga. He explains the full details of Karma Yoga. Samatvam Yoga Uchate. That means you do your action without anxiety for the result of action. He taught the entire, in a brief way, he taught us Karma Yoga. He taught us Jnana Yoga, and then he taught us how does a wise man behave. This is what was taught in the second chapter. This is exactly what he will now expand into chapters from 3 to 18. So if you have understood this chapter well, you will be very clear as what we are going to study in the rest of our 16 chapters. Before we go, I go to the third chapter. I have prepared a small note on the main portion of chapter 2, which is Atma Jnanam. So in this section, if you all recollect, we have a definition of Atma in Tattva Bodha. And Atma Kaha was the question of the student in Tattva Bodha. Sthula Sukshma Karana Sharira Vyatirikta Panchakosha Avastatraya Sachidananda Swarupa Atma. What does it mean? Atma is what? Atma is other than the gross body, subtle body, causal body. This is the first category. This is a very important definition you should always have at the back of your mind. I am not the three bodies, the gross, subtle, and causal. Then the second part of the definition is I am not the 5 sheets. I am not the 5 dresses which I wear. You all know the 5 sheets: Annamaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, Vijnanamaya Kosha, Anandamaya Kosha. 5 coverings of Atma. Then it says something positive. It says it is the witness of the 3 states of consciousness. Atma is a witness. Very important definition. If you remember that you are a witness of the 3 states, this can lead to moksha directly. This is a central theme of Mandukya Upanishad, that you are the witness. Atma is a witness of the waking state. The whole waking state belongs to the mind. The dream state belongs to the mind. The sleep state belongs to the mind. What remains as the unchanging factor in all the 3 states, the invariable factor in all the 3 states, is called as Sakshi. That is called as pure consciousness awareness. It never gets affected by the three states. We are talking of the whole state. That means my whole waking hours, whatever is happening is at a different level. My body is interacting with the world. The sense organs are interacting with the mind and the sense objects. These interactions are happening according to the law of karma, according to the law of the universe. But beyond this is Atma. It is a witness. It is untouched by the Vyavahara transactions in the plane of transactions. It is higher nature. That higher nature is called as Sat Chit Ananda, existence, consciousness, bliss. That is the way they describe Atma in the scriptures. It comes in Taittiriya Upanishad. Most of you may have heard about this. Sat Chit Ananda Atma. So, this is the definition which I have to keep. My whole study of the Gita is going to be how do I discover this pure awareness, consciousness in my own mind. In me means at the core, behind my mind, which is what is the power behind the mind, the power behind the sense organs is this Atma, is this consciousness. What we should note is, who am I? I am not the body. I am not the physical body. I am not dependent on the body. That means as pure consciousness, as in sleep state, I can remain by myself without any identification with the body or with the mind. I am independent as Atma. The third thing you should note, I'm not different from the body because body is dependent on Atma. There is no body without Atma, in the sense that there is no identification that I am there and the body is not there, because body and Atma are invariably joined together. Physical body and the Atma, body appears because of me, the consciousness. I am there. First, I as the pure consciousness am there. Because of me, there is an awareness of the body. Whether it is a live body or a dead body, I am aware. Because I, the consciousness, am there, I am a witness to a live body or a dead body. I am not the awareness without the body. This also we must know. Even though I say that I am the pure consciousness, we should not make the mistake that the body is separately lying and I can see myself separately. That is what I'm trying to avoid by saying I am not awareness without the body. I cannot ever be aware of my own self as pure consciousness. I cannot experience Atma without the body. That is what is indicated here. And the final thing is what the scriptures teach us. I am the awareness consciousness principle and exist without the three sharirams, but as myself. I cannot say I will experience that consciousness, because to experience you require a mind. You require the body. Anything to experience in life, any experience in life comes only because of the thoughts in the mind. Sakshi is the one which illumines, which reveals the mind. As soon as I get up in the morning, the mind is woken up and it gets the blessing of the Sakshi. With the blessing of Sakshi, it fires the sense organs in the body and then it starts seeing the entire universe. I can't be the self-aware, because then what will happen is I'm making Atma an object. I am the subject Atma. This pure consciousness is ever the subject, never the object. So in meditation, we should never try to see Atma. We can only claim Atma. The moment I try to bring Atma in front of my mind, I'm saying I'm going to know Atma, visualize Atma. No, all this is trying to make Atma an object. This is a very common mistake many people make in meditation. The only thing in meditation we can do is bring the thoughts that I am not the body, I am not the mind. Neti, neti. That means I remove the thoughts of the body, the mind, the world. And then what do I say? I say I am Atma. That is the only thing which is possible, is I claim that pure consciousness as Atma. That is why there is a Mahavakya which is called as Aham Brahma Asmi. Aham Brahma Asmi means I am that pure consciousness, which is called as Advaita. That is what Shankaracharya main teaching is. That Advaita means what? There is only Atma, there is only pure consciousness in this entire universe as Satya, as the ultimate truth. So when I say I am Atma, I am only claiming that truth which is the truth of this entire universe. Holding on to this truth, I can conduct my transactions in life. The moment I hold on to this fundamental principle, then it is easy for me to face any situations in life. There are three things which we should note according to Vedanta. One is called as Sat. Sat means it is pure existence consciousness principle. It cannot be perceived by the sense organs, and that is what is called as Atma. The second is something which is non-existent, Asat. It never exists. That means flowers in the sky, a hot ice cream, a human horn. These are all what is called as Asat, non-existent. So there is one category called as Sat, which is purely existent without the world of Anatma, which is called as Atma. The second is non-existent. And the third category is called as Sat Asat Vilakshana. That means it is beyond Sat, beyond Asat. That is what is called as art. That is what is called as appearance. So the entire world comes under this category called as Sat Asat Vilakshana, means it is an appearance, like the rope snake, like the dream. These are all, dream, for example, you cannot say it is Sat because it goes away in waking. We cannot say it is Asat because it is experienced. So what we do is we say it is beyond Sat, beyond Asat, and we give it a third category. This third category is what is given by Vedanta, and that is given by Advaita Vedanta, and it says this world of experiences which we have is an appearance. Therefore, this Atma is called as Adhishtanam, and this world is taken as an appearance which is called as Adhyastam. In Sanskrit, Adhyastam and Adhishtanam. Adhishtanam means in English substratum. Adhyasa means superimposition. On Atma, the world is superimposed. Exactly like what? Like the dream is superimposed on the waker. Waker is a Compared in a comparative degree, the waker is a higher nature compared to the dream. The entire dream is in the waker's mind, and then it dissolves in the waker's mind. Similarly, the entire waking is in Atma, pure awareness. The whole experiences of our waking, they are resolved in sleep in the Atma. Our experiences, the experiences like I explained before, is all with reference to the mind. When the mind is awake, you have experiences. When there is no mind, when the mind is passive, it goes to unmanifest condition, and then we are in our pure state of awareness. Once this basic principle is understood, this basic principle is explained by Shankaracharya in the Brahma Sutra, in the Adhyasa Bhashyam. You know, there is a text called as Brahma Sutra. There are three texts which is called as Prasthana Trayam. Bhagavad Gita is a Smriti. Shruti means it is Upanishads. And then there is Brahma Sutra. These are the three fundamental texts. Shankaracharya, when he writes a commentary on the Bhagavad Gita or the Upanishads or the Brahma Sutras, he always follows this principle, which is explained in this chart here. That is, there is Sat, which is Atma or pure awareness. Then there is Asat, which is not existent. The third is appearance, which is coming and going, coming and going. It is just an appearance like the dream. Why does it appear? Because of the fulfillment of the prarabdha karmas. The entire universe is governed by the law of karma, which we will study a little bit more once we go into the other chapters. So this is just one more chart which I wanted to explain so that you see, basically what we should understand is, why am I studying the Bhagavad Gita? What it will give me? If you know these fundamentals of Vedanta, the science behind the revelations of the Upanishads, then it will become easy to understand the revelations. And owning up this Atma is the final ultimate benefit which we can get from the Bhagavad Gita study. I have explained to you that from verse number 12 to 30 is the root, is the fundamental knowledge given by Lord Krishna to Arjuna. Now I'm going to go through every verse from 12 to 30 in this note which I have prepared, because this is the fundamental truth which we need to understand as my truth, your truth. Each one of us have to own up to this Atma. And what is this Atma is very beautifully described. This portion of the Bhagavad Gita is the essence of all the Upanishads. If you understand this clearly and then try to learn the Gita, and then you will be able to follow the entire sequence of chapter 3 to 18, because this is the root. I must know that my core personality is pure awareness. Natveham jatu nasam, natveham nema janadipaha, nachaiva na bhavishyamaha, sarve vayamata param. In this verse, in all these verses, there are two things we learn. One, how to face death in life. What is death? Death is only of the physical body. So this verses from 12 to 30, they will teach me how to face death. In a quiet mind, when I'm learning these verses, it is good that I know what is death and what is non-death, what is immortality. When we are faced with a situation in our own family, at that time we will not be able to absorb this knowledge. But today, in a quiet mind, when we learn about what is birth, what is death, what is life, That is what is being presented by Lord Krishna in these verses. The second is, objective of Lord Krishna here is how to claim, how to know what is the nature of Atma and how do I claim that. Now I'm going to give you this final chart later on, but just see in each verse there is one indicator. One main indicator is kept behind and then the details are presented. Now in this verse, what it says is that at any time in the past, you were not there. That's what Lord Krishna is teaching. I was not there, nor were you not there, nor are all the rulers. That means all of us exist all the time. How can we exist all the time? If this body is me, I cannot say that neither Lord Krishna can say that he is existent, neither he can say, Arjuna, you're also existent. He says, Atma is Nityaha. You are not the body, you are Atma. This Atma is Nitya. Nityaha in Sanskrit means eternal. Eternal means time does not affect Atma. The body is affected by time. Body is affected by prarabdha. But mind is affected by prarabdha karma. But Atma is not affected. It is always existing as pure existence principle. We say the body is, the world is, that existence principle is called as Sat. It is called as Sat means it is always there. So, as Atma, I am there before the birth of the body. As Atma, I am there after the death of the body. How? As pure existence consciousness principle. Can you give me a sample? The sample is our sleep state without ignorance. Suppose I know that I am as Atma in my sleep state, then that is called as realization. That is called as a wise man. I exist as pure consciousness awareness. Whereas an ajnani will think, ignorant will think, oh, I just went to sleep, I just got up, that's all. My body was resting and then he never even knows about this. So a person who is exposed to the Shastra, exposed to the scriptures, his vision changes. This is called as the vision of Atma. It's called as Saddarshanam. It's called as the vision of the truth. So this is my real state all the time and beyond time. This state is called as Paramarthikam. Paramarthikam means it is an absolute state. Atma is Nityaha. This is what is called as it is not affected by time. And when something is not affected by time, it is given a name, that status is given a name, Paramarthikam. Paramarthikam means absolute. The next verse, Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yauvanam jara tatha dehantara praptihi dhirastatrana mukhyati. Just as the body passes through childhood, youth, old age, similarly, it will go to another body. The firm man does not grieve. That means there is rebirth for ajnanis. Rebirth, according to law of karma, is there. So what he is saying is, Lord Krishna is saying is, don't worry about one body is gone, don't worry about it. Suppose somebody dies, you say that he is gone. But don't worry too much, because that man, that person, that individual will be born again. So don't grieve. That is what Krishna is teaching us. He says the firm man does not grieve. Very important point. And don't worry about it. Just like how we pass from childhood, from childhood to youth, from youth to adulthood. There is that pure consciousness in us which does not change. Hold on to that consciousness and let life, birth, death cycle go on and on. Doesn't matter. Hold on to this nirvikara Atma. Here the Atma's indicator is nirvikara, without modification. Atma has no birth, no growth, decay, disease, or death. It has no states of experience. It is not young, old, male, female. There is no male Atma, there is no female Atma. There is only one Atma. There is no wise Atma, there is no ignorant Atma. Atma does not have these characteristics. It is the mind, which is it is the body which has got this gender. Ignorant depends on the mind. The I thought is reflected consciousness. You see, what happens is the moment I wake up, that thought in me rises as I. As soon as I wake up, the I thought comes. It is called as reflection of consciousness. Like the mirror. The moment you come and stand before the mirror, your reflection comes in the mirror automatically. Similarly, the mind woken up gets a reflection of Atma. That reflection is called as I thought. With the help of I thought, I conduct the whole day, my transactions. Similarly, I go to sleep, again I get up in the morning, again the I thought comes. But what happens to the real I, which is the original face, whether the mirror is there or not, the original face remains as it is. Therefore, the original consciousness called Atma is nirvikaraha. There is no change in no modification in Atma. That is what is said in this 13th verse. Matra sparshastu kaunteya shitoshna sukha dukkada agama payino nityaha tam titikshasva bharata. Then there's another verse, the 14th and 15th verse are telling us how I should lead this life by having this knowledge of Atma. So in this verse, yam hi na vatanyate purusham purusharshava samadukha sukham dhiram somavrit atvaya kalpate. What it says is that the sense organs are interacting with the sense objects. That is what is said in the 14th verse. Our sense organs are dealing with the sense objects. Both are matter principle. We have to tolerate tam titikshasva bharata. That means in life, we have to tolerate the situations which comes to us because of the law of karma. And it is the matter principle, the body is interacting with the sense objects. Both are matter. We accept dharma of anatma. That means body, mind, reflected consciousness, they all interact. And this happens by the power of Maya. Maya means the three gunas. We will learn more about what this Maya or this Prakriti is in the 14th chapter. We will learn about this Maya. So here what we understand is, we understand to realize that this Atma is me. That is what is called as the immortal self. And the body is interacting with the world. Body, mind interacts with the world as per the law of karma. Again, in sleep, it drops the identification, it comes back to Atma. I rest in Atma, which is my real nature. So 14th and 15th are slightly digression verses. It doesn't talk about Atma, it only talks about Anatma. 16th verse, Nasato vidyate bhavaha, na bhavo vidyate sataha, ubhayoropi drishtontaha, tvanayos tattva darshivihi. Very beautiful verse describing the nature of Atma. the nature of that pure consciousness principle. What does it say? It says the indicator here is that Atma is existence, pure existence. It is Satyam. It is always there. And it can exist independently. Like gold can exist independently than the ring or the chain. Similarly, like cotton can exist independently than the cloth. Similarly, Atma can exist independent of the body, mind, and the world. Anatma, that means the world is called as mithya, which is mithya means what? In Sanskrit, mithya means it's an appearance. It is dependently existent. It is not independently existent. Suppose you remove the gold from the ornaments. Can the ornament survive? No. Similarly, if you remove the consciousness from the body cannot survive. So what it says here is the unreal has no existence. Unreal means the body and mind is unreal. It has no independent existence. That is the first line. Nasato vidyate bhava. Then the second thing what he says that there is no non-existence of the real. That means gold always is. Cotton is always there. Wood is there. Furniture keeps on changing. So similarly, Atma is ever there, eternal. It can exist independently. That is what it says. There is no non-existence. I can never say I am non-existent. I am always there. But the moment I say aham, I, immediately you will say I am there. I am there. That thought, even without a thought, aham, you are a spiritual being. Pure spiritual being is what is called as Atma. That is what is said here in this verse. And the one who knows the truth about the real and the unreal, he is a wise man. He knows that principle which knows the existence of something, non-existence of another thing. That principle is called as Atma. So the wise man is a person who knows that I exist with the body and mind in my waking state. I exist without my body and mind in the sleep state. I am that consciousness which is aware of both. Like you are aware of the darkness and light, because you are the consciousness principle, you are aware of both. Similarly, I am aware of the darkness, which is called as tamoguna, when the mind has gone to sleep. Total darkness, which is what we experience in a sleep state. That is called as the inert nature of this body. Body is inert. Ultimately, it is inert. It doesn't have consciousness on its own. But the consciousness which is powering the body in the waking state, you can know what is that consciousness when you compare the two states of sleep and waking in your own mind. Then the 17th verse, these are all very deep verses. These are all meant for meditation. These are all, you can just sit down and meditate on one verse at a time. Beautiful verses gives the exact nature of Atma. The 17th verse, Avinashi tu tadviddhi yena sarvamidam tatham vinashamya avasyasya na kasyit kartum arhati. Know that to be indestructible. So in the 17th verse, we are learning about three features. One is Avinashi. Avinashi means this Atma is imperishable. And it is always existent, but the world is manifest and unmanifest. World is an object of experience of Atma, of pure consciousness. This is the point which Lord Krishna is trying to teach, imperishable. This is what is the first quality or the indicator of Atma. Then the second quality is what? Second aspect is sarvagataha. Sarvagataha means sarvamidam tatham. Sarvamidam tatham means this pure consciousness pervades the whole cosmos. It is not restricted to only this body of mine. This Atma, which I am now learning about, this is there all over. Wherever the life is, whether with or without life, Atma is there. Waker pervades the dream world. For example, the whole dream world, the waker is pervading. The mind of the waker is pervading. But it exists independently. Similarly, Atma, the pure consciousness, pervades the entire waking world, and it also can exist independently. That is what is described here. And the third thing is, it is ekam. It is one. Because it is all pervading, it has to be formless, it has to be non-dual. There cannot be two consciousness in the world. There is only one consciousness. We'll take up one more verse, 18 number, verse 18. Antavantaime dehaha nityas yokta sharirinaha anashino aprameyasya tasmad yuddhasva bharata. What is the quality, what is the nature being described here? Aprameyaha. Aprameya means it is never an object of the sense organs. Atma is always the subject. It is never the object. The bodies have an end, but Atma is eternal, indestructible, and you cannot comprehend Atma because it is not an object. See, if it is an object, you can say it is a species, it has got jati, it has got guna, it has got attribute, it has got a relationship, it has got a sambandha, or it is doing a kriya. See, there are four factors in order to be an object: jati, guna, kriya, sambandha. These are the four factors for any object. Object is a species. Object is either it has got attributes. You cannot describe an object without attributes. Or you can describe it as an action. Suppose you are a teacher. You can say he is a teacher. So you're describing an object by the action which he performs. Or you can say he is a son or a daughter. That means through a relationship. So if these four aspects are not there, it cannot be an object. Atma is not an object. It cannot be, it is not prameya vastu. Prameya means it is not an object of sense organs. It is not a sound. Atma is not a sound. It is not a touch. It is not a thought. So it cannot be cognized by the mind or known by the sense organs. That is what it says in this verse. One cannot realize Atma. One cannot experience Atma. One can know Atma as oneself. This Atma is intimately associated with the body, mind, and intellect. Intimately associated, because without the Atma, there is the body, mind, and intellect does not have any power to function. So the body, mind, and intellect, they are appearing and disappearing in the pure TV screen of the pure consciousness. They are the instruments, the medium. Body, mind, and intellect, they are the instruments for us to experience the world. But they are not me, the Atma. Okay, so I will continue this next week, and then we will start, after this is all over, then we'll start chapter 3 next week. So we have finished up to the verse 18. The reason I have taken up these verses, because in the entire Bhagavad Gita, the verses of chapter 2 from 12 to 30 are the most important, because They teach me how to face death in life, death in my life, and also it teaches me who I am. What is this Atma at the core of my personality? What is this I should try to recognize as my nature? So, like I said, we will continue from the 19th verse next week. We'll go on up to another 11 verses are there, up to 30th verse. These are all the verses which we can meditate, which we can, once you have started learning the Bhagavad Gita, for the next 4 months, go on with the idea that I will learn the Bhagavad Gita more and more. And there are some notes which are there in the website. You can see that notes. I will talk to you about the notes next week. Which are the notes? What does it contain? I will give a little bit more details of the notes. But it's a beautiful study of a text which will help me to run my life much better than what I can run the life today, because I know myself. If I know who I am, then it's easy to face the situations when they come. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnahat Purnamudachade Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. I'll see if there are any questions today. Okay, there's a question from Jagdish. Is delusion the mind means newer thoughts which are not positive? No, delusion also means it is not only negative thoughts, it is also thoughts which can delude me. It can confuse me. It can tell me something which is not there. It can tell me it is there. So delusion is a function of the mind, which it does not. Delusion means it doesn't know. It cannot discriminate between the right and the wrong, between the good and the bad, between the real and unreal. So whenever there is thoughts which are telling me something which is not right, this we will know if we are able to understand that I am the pure consciousness which is witness of the mind. This delusion will drop in our minds. But to your question, what is delusion? Delusion is thought. It is not negative thoughts, or it is not positive thought. It is not that thought which is not positive. It is which can delude. Delude means it can confuse me as to thinking the right is wrong, or it can tell me the wrong is right. This is what is called as delusion. For example, smoking is bad for me, but my mind will tell me, no, it doesn't matter. You can have one puff today, or so this is what is called as delusion. I'm sure all of us face. You will know what this delusion means, and I think it's a very good question. It means it is something which can cause problems for me. It confuses me. That's all. That is the basic nature of the delusory aspect of the mind. Now, this is one of the very important aspect which we must know, that it is the mind which can trick me into believing something which is not true. Many of us get caught in these delusions, and then we suffer. But the moment I come to know the pure screen of Atma, then this delusion will reduce. I will not say it will disappear 100%, but it will reduce. The delusion is caused by the tamas nature of Maya. We have three gunas, sattva, rajas, and tamas. So the tamas is what causes delusion. Sattva means it gives us a clarity all the time that it is, whenever I say that I'm very clear in my mind, that is called as sattvic mind. Rajasic mind means I'm totally, not confused, but my mind is agitating me. That sense of agitation is called as Rajasic mind. And a tamasic mind is one which deludes a person. It will tell you something which is not right. It will tell you that is the thing you should follow. So this is where we have to come out of delusion. For example, Arjuna thought that fighting the war is adharmic. That is what is called as delusion. He should have thought that I am a Kshatriya, I am a warrior, my duty is to fight and safeguard dharma. That is what is called as a clear thinking. But he thought that fighting the war is adharmic. I should become a sannyasi. I should just go on to retire in the Himalayas. That is what is called as delusion. Next question is, what is the difference between asat and mithya? For example, is mirage in the desert, is it a mithya? It is a mithya because it is, asat means it is non-existent. Asat means, that is why I have put the examples of mirage water, I have put the example of rope snake, the dream. Dream is a perfect example because it also will tell us that there are two realities. So your question is, mirage in the desert, a mithya? Yes, it is mithya because I have an appearance of the mirage water on the substratum of the sand. So on the substratum of the sand, I have a appearance in my mind of water. Similarly, the rope snake, or if you take the example of dream, in my Atma or in my mind, I am superimposing the entire thoughts which come and go, which is an appearance. The appearances are called as mithya. This is what we should learn as a third category, and the entire world of experiences in advanced texts, it says that the entire waking state is mithya. It is there. It is not that it is not there. It is, you see, this is the third category. It is neither sat, we cannot, because in sleep this waking state is gone. My world of which I am seeing so beautifully in this waking state is not there in the sleep state. Therefore, we say that it is not sat. Then what can we say that the world is asat? No, we cannot say that the world is asat. Asat means non-existent. I do experience it. My eyes are experiencing it. So the world experienced through the sense organs, because it is experienced, we say it is not asat. It is because it doesn't stay in the sleep state, we say it is not sat. So what is this state which we are experiencing, which we call it as a world or a dream or the mirage water? What is this state called? This is what Vedanta calls it as another third state, which is called as mithya. This mithya is something which is called as an appearance only. During the experience time only it is available. In the other times it is not there. In the dream state there is no waking experiences. Yesterday's waking experience is not there today. Last week's waking experience is not there today. So this is just an appearance which is coming and going, coming and going. You will ask a question, does it serve any purpose? The purpose, according to the scriptures, is it goes as per the law of karma. Body is born, body dies. It goes through the law of karma. Again it comes, again it goes. That's all. This is how we should understand. And the moment we understand this, this is what is called as Atma Jnana. I hope it's clear now. Since our deep sleep state as an individual cannot recognize its vasanas, hence we cannot realize in deep sleep, is it correct? Yes. See, what is happening in deep sleep, this is described very beautifully in Mandukya Upanishad. This is what I was trying to explain in the by calling the deep state as the tamasic guna. See, what happens is there is something called as the gunas. Gunas means which I cannot see. It is prakriti, it is nature. It is something which is changing. It is not manifest to my sense organs. There is a power which is there in this universe, which is called as Maya, which is called as a Shakti. It is a power which is there in the universe, which my sense organs cannot perceive. Now, so this, there is a power in deep sleep, and that covers the Atma. See, that power which covers my nature of who I am in my sleep state is called as the tamas. That is what we have learned in the Tattvabodha itself, that there are three gunas, sattva, rajas, and tamas. So what happens is tamas is like darkness. Like outside, right now, if it's completely dark, you will not see any object outside because it's dark. So that darkness is what is called as tamas. In sleep, all of us have this experience that I don't know anything. What Vedas are teaching us is that I exist beyond the three gunas. So this, beyond this darkness, I exist. That is my pure light of consciousness. And that is what is my Atma. That is my nature. Paulina from Poland, she's asking, how should we perform this reflection, mananam? Should I, for example, reflect on the scripture verses thought that day if I have free time? Yes, you're right. You see, there are different ways by which you can do this reflection. And it is this reflection itself is called as meditation. This, when you, for example, today I have taught this 3 or 4 verses up to 19. From 12th verse to 19th verse, I have taught. So you have got some glimpse of Atma. In the sense, you know some nature about Atma. I am pure. So the way I reflect is, I try to bring these thoughts of what I learned in my mind. That is called as reflection. Let that thought come again and again. Let it, okay, then the next question you're asking is, what if my mind triggers some negative thought? If it triggers, you should remind yourself, I am not the mind. So you have given an answer yourself. What you should say is, suppose, for example, I'm sitting down quietly, close my eyes. I have done this type of meditations in my previous classes. When you sit down in a quiet mind and you are just closed you close your eyes, what happens is, and you want to think about this Atma with the features which we have learned so far. You can just bring only one factor. For example, Nityaha. You can meditate on Nityaha. I am always there. Nitya means eternal. I am immortal. Let your mind say deliberately the thought, I am immortal. I am immortal. This is called as, and then you dwell, how can I be immortal? because I am the consciousness. From childhood to today, this consciousness has not changed, and it will never change. Therefore, I am immortal. Let these type of thoughts continue. This is called as mananam. This is called as reflection. And the more you try to reflect on the scriptural sentences, the meanings, the more you will grow with this Atma. That is the beauty of meditating or reflecting on the scriptural words. Shama from London, she is saying, I love the way you're synchronizing the Tattva Bodha with the study of Gita. Well, that's very good, because I find the Tattva Bodha, if you can understand correctly, you will become a realized person. The 5 sessions of Tattva Bodha, especially the Atma definition which I took today, if you can understand that definition of Atma correctly, then your spiritual study is over. I strongly believe that the definition of Atma is brilliant, and it is a goal we should keep in our spiritual study. The moment I understand I am the witness of the 3 states of consciousness, I can remain independently, I can exist independently. That Atma, which is a witness, is my real nature, and that the scriptures are telling me is immortal. I have 100% faith in the scriptures. Therefore, I am immortal. And let this feeling abide in you throughout the life, throughout the waking state. I am the Atma, immortal Atma. The situations in life, day-to-day situations, events will come, events will go. Some joy and sorrow will come and go, but that should not overwhelm me with the thought of Atma. The moment I am able to, if it overwhelms me, immediately I should again remember myself of this fundamental fact. What happens in life is, if this thought goes deeper at our subconscious level, then it becomes Jnana Nishtha. It becomes our nature. Till that time, let the listening keep on continuing. What happens is, all the time when we are studying the Bhagavad Gita or the Upanishads, it's all talking of this fundamental Atma only. Always realize that. Whatever we are studying in life is only this Atma. And it is only to take this Atma's nature at a subconscious level, not because whatever is there at the mind level, it disappears, because another thought wave comes, the thought of Atma goes away. Immediately another thought comes, another thought comes. So the whole day that we are lashed by the thoughts of the thought of the thought. But this firmness of Atma Jnanam, if it is there, then it changes a person dramatically. You will find tremendous amount of peace coming into your life, which you have never experienced in your life, because this is the absolute peace which exists. And it is revealed by the scriptures as the ultimate truth. So never have a feeling that what I'm learning is not something which is a waste of time, Keep listening, that's all. That's what the teachers, they tell us. Just keep listening. See, what happens is the mind gets purified further and further. It is the mind which is a cause of our problems, which pushes us back into the world of samsara. Okay, any other questions from somebody? Is there anything which you would like to ask?
Mr. Shekhar, this is Jacqueline. I have one question.
Yeah.
For us, right? in this world, we know that sleep, right? We have to go to sleep for certain hour and then wake up and then refresh. I'm, this question itself, is sleep, you know, when we are tired, we have to go to sleep.
Correct.
So is it because of the body that say, okay, I'm tired, I'm going to sleep? Or
Yes.
it is the Atma that say, okay, I think your body is very tired now. You have to take a nap, and then after taking a nap, your mind is blank, and then you wake up again. So
No, okay, it is not the Atma which is saying, it is the mind which is triggering the thought that you need to sleep. You see, it's always the mind which is triggering a thought in us.
yeah, but we actually go to sleep.
Yes, we go to sleep because before you go to sleep, the thought comes. The thought of sleep, you see, for example, if you're hungry, you will go and eat. Suppose the thought will come. It's a thought in the body. It's an automatic process in the body itself, which happens. Suppose you're thirsty. You will say, okay, let me drink some water or let me drink a juice. So similarly, a thought comes, let me go to sleep. So it is a natural process in the body which happens. So your sleep is a condition which the body will demand whenever it is tired. It is the body will demand, because suppose you're on a Sunday afternoon, your body says, okay, it's I had a heavy meal, I would like to sleep. So the body triggers this. Atma does not perform any role, it is only a witness. Always remember that it is not a doer of action, it is a witness of the actions.
Okay.
Exactly like the sunlight is always there and all the transactions are going on in the whole cosmos. You see, the whole universe, the transactions, the birds are chirping, they go to sleep. Again, these are all actions happening at the earth, on the earth. Now, the sun is not affected by anything. It's always like, we should always remember, my nature is like the space. Space is not affected by any objects in creation. Space is always there accommodating everything. Similarly, I am that consciousness in which the mind wakes up, mind goes to sleep, mind takes up another body, mind leaves one body. That's all.
Okay, thank you. So it's a process. Okay, I mean, it's a process of life process, no matter what, it has to happen.
Exactly, that's right. It is happening. It's a natural process which is happening, and I cannot do anything. Even without you even thinking about it, it will happen. You will go to sleep.
Okay.
Again, you'll get up in the morning. Again, you'll go to sleep. Again, you'll get up in the morning. This is a natural. It's been going on for 60 years, 50 years.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Anybody else has anything else?
Shekhar J, I've actually put in a question in the chat.
Yeah, okay.
It's about this ahamkara, which
Yes.
guna is causing that?
Yeah, ahamkara is, let me see if I can find your question.
It's the last one.
Okay. Sorry, I missed your question. Tamas causes delusion. Which guna causes ahamkara? Okay, tamas causes delusion. That's correct. Ahamkara is a natural state which happens. We call this, you see, the ahamkara is common. It's common to all the three gunas. Ahamkara means it is the I notion in the body. This ahamkara is a reflection only. It's a reflection of the consciousness in the mind. That is what is called as the ahamkara. Now, this ahamkara is in three states. It is in passive state, it is in semi-passive state, or is it in the active state? These are the three states of the ahamkara. The active state is the waking state. The semi-active state is called as the dream state. The passive state is the sleep state. Now, the three states are the sattva. They say that the sattva guna causes the waking state. Rajas guna causes the dream state. They say that the sleep state is caused by the tamas. So the three states are caused by the three gunas, and then the ahamkara is the one which goes through these three states of the mind. Ahamkara means the I notion. Now it plays a very prominent role in the waking. For example, I suddenly want to run, I want to jog, I want to do yoga. So this I is very, very active. It uses all the sense organs, it uses the organs of action, the knowledge, organs of knowledge. It wants to read a book, it wants to write something. This is the ahamkara. The same ahamkara goes to sleep in the sleep state. Completely just goes into unmanifest state. Completely. Ahamkara is an unmanifest because there is no I notion in sleep. So this ahamkara is got a manifested state, it has got an unmanifested state, and it has got a semi-manifested in the dream state. But the beauty is I should try to, this ahamkara has got two parts. One part is the mind, which is the inert part. The second part of this ahamkara is a reflection. It's a reflection of the consciousness. So this ahamkara is the jiva, which is called as Uma. When I say I am Uma, it means I am the ahamkara in this body. And I am the I notion with this mind. I am called as Uma when I am identified with this body and this mind. I am called as a pure Atma, spiritual being, when I am in my sleep state. That is my real nature. That is what is teaching of Bhagavad Gita. I have a consciousness as my nature that does not have three states. The mind has three states, but I, the consciousness, am the pure self. Without these three states, I am immortal. As Uma, Uma is a name given to the I notion when it wakes up with the body and mind. It goes on transacting throughout the life. The same Uma realizes that I am not the Uma, I am that pure spiritual being. As a spiritual being, I am immortal. With that knowledge, then what happens is, I have a beautiful life. I am always free. I am never identified with my mind. In my waking state, yes, I identify. The body is seen. I conduct all my life as Uma. But I know in my mind, I am that pure consciousness. This I notion is what we are going to study in the Saddarshanam on Wednesday. The same I notion, your question will be more and more answered in that Saddarshanam text, which you are attending.
Yep.
Okay? All right.
Okay. Thank you so much, Shekharji.
Anybody else has anything else? Okay, so we'll close for the day, and then we'll meet next week, and then we'll start with the next verse. Next week, we will finish the chapter 2, and then we'll start chapter 3. And from chapter 3 onwards, it will be fairly easy. The chapter 2 is the most difficult to understand, but after that, you'll find it's relatively easy. Okay, thank you and good night.
Thank you very much. Good night.
Thank you.